I don't know that you can beat the short put strategy as the go-to strategy. We've talked about that this a little bit before in the past, but I don't know, guys. Mike, I know you love diagonals. That may not be your number one, but I know you love diagonals. Jermal, I know you love calendars. But guys, the short put, just the simple short put, I don't know, man. I think we can make a strong case that it's number one.
Yeah, I would agree.
I would agree.
I used to say, so my retirement plan has changed a little bit. I used to say my retirement plan is to accumulate a couple $1,000,000 and just sell puts in SPX and never worry a day in my life. That has changed slightly, but I think now the booster in my mind is the short put plus the short call, but never letting the short call go in the money, just shifting it higher, and just manipulating it so I get that call premium. But the same idea, it's just like a short put, especially in something like SPX or NDX. It is a very high probability conservative strategy because you make money in all environments, or at least you're outperforming the market. In the case of a market sell-off, you're outperforming the buy and hold where they're taking full static risk and you take dynamic risk. You can still manipulate that short put too.
That's exactly right. I think that gets lost a lot of times when people think about short puts and they think about risk and they think about whatever. It's like, man, I mean, by definition, I mean, if you match for notional exposure, which we don't typically do, obviously, as option traders, because we're using the leverage, we're using the buying power efficiency. But if you match for size and match for notional, the short put is way less risky than the shares themselves because you have to absorb the full weight of the move. That's exactly right. So it's very interesting you brought up the short call as being the booster. What I'm going to propose here this morning is the short put actually has boosters inherently already in the system. So when you have a short put, you obviously are playing the positive drift, you're playing the market higher, but you also have positive theta and you also have negative vega. That's, inherent in the strategy, which of course, this is going to be the case for all short premium strategies, but the short put is uniquely special because you do benefit from a market that wants to go higher over time. So the short put is always positive theta. I've got time working for me. The short put is always negative vega. So volatility does contract like it's doing this morning. That's going to help me. But then I've got that positive delta. So in the event that the market does rally, I sell a put after a sell-off, or I sell a put at any time, and the market goes up, I'm going to get paid on all three of these. I'm going to get paid on delta, I'm going to get paid on theta, and I'm going to get paid on vega. Now, of course, and I don't know who said this, but man, it's a catchy jingle. For every gimme, there's a gotcha. So the gotcha here is if it goes down, then you're going to get hit. Like then you're going to get hit on the delta effect and you're going to get hit on the vega effect. So you obviously need to be aware of what you're doing. You need to make sure your size is in check. But the reason why I love the short put so much is you can do so many things. And we're going to talk about that here in just 1 second. But hold on 1 minute, Laura. The short put by itself, just as a standalone strategy, already has these built-in mechanisms that can make it just a really powerful strategy.
Agreed. Yeah, the synergy is apparent in the Greeks with the short put construct, in the sense that if the market sells off, you're getting an increase in implied volatility, which increases the price of that put. But right when you get in, you have positive theta that decays the extrinsic value.
Yep.
You've got a positive delta where if the market rallies, you're going to benefit from that delta. And with that delta move to the upside, your implied volatility will likely decrease as well, which is where you get that negative vega kicker. And it's a very synergistic trade, especially if you're entering into a sell-off. But it also works on the other side, where if you enter and then you get a sell-off, all these things kind of work against you. But at the same time, it doesn't matter at the end of the day if you have a long-term trade or if your option is still out of the money, because all of that extrinsic value increase based on, your theta reading or your vega reading or implied volatility change is extrinsic value based.
That's right. That's right. And so what's amazing, so Laura, go to the next slide now. So what's amazing is we can take advantage of the short put as a standalone strategy, but we can take advantage of it in a number of ways, because you have a short strangle, like you mentioned, Mike. It's like, all right, I want to get that call premium, and I'm just going to be very prudent with my adjustment on the call side. I'm going to be active, I'm going to be vigilant, and I'm going to move it around as needed so it never goes in the money. That's a great strategy. You can also do ratio spreads, which is that's probably a more advanced version of the short put, because now, you're building in this long put vertical. You can do a standard 1x2, you can do a 1x3 and kind of, ratchet up the risk with the short puts. You could do a 2x30 and have more exposure to the downside with the long put vertical. There's a number of ways that you can kind of adjust, you can customize the put ratio spread, but it's a similar type of idea because the short put is going to be the driver. You could do a jade lizard, right? You can sell a put and then sell a call spread. Again, the short put is the driver. And then lastly, for a defined risk version, you can just do a short put spread. Very different than a short put, but still the same general spirit where the short put is going to be the driver. So here's 4 actual strategies where, in my view, it is the short put that is the driving mechanism of all 4. But these are all slightly different. Maybe you want to be a little bit more neutral. Maybe you want to have some call premium working for you too. Maybe you want to widen out your break-even point like with a ratio spread. This gives people a few things to think about where they want to tap into the benefits of a short put, but they don't want to do it with just a standalone short put.
Yeah, no, that's 100% correct with these, and these are all fantastic. These are largely selling positions. I think you got to add one to it, and I know these are all selling and collecting positions, but you got to add in almost the Mikey patented trade when you add in the super bear trade. I'm sorry, the super bull trade, if you will, where you're selling a put spread to finance buying a call spread if you feel like the name has some legs and it might run up. So again, I know these are all collecting, but one that sort of uses some upside convexity, the super bull trade.
Great. No, I love it. I love it. And you can do this. And the great thing about the Super Bowl, I mean, it would be an absolute, it would be a number 5 starter here. Like it's a Connolly early, right? It's maybe a Peyton Tolley. It's not necessarily a Garrett Crochet. It's not necessarily a Ranger Suarez, right? But it would be number 5 on the slide, I think. Yeah. So, but no, that's 100% right. Because the great thing about the Super Bowl is you can do it defined risk or you can do it undefined risk if you want to take a little bit more risk and collect even more on the short put. And so, Mike, what you normally do it with the short put spread, I think, right? Is that your go-to?
Yeah. If I'm doing it in like SPX, it's a short put spread to buy a call spread. Sometimes the short put spread is more narrow than the call spread if I move the call spread further out of the money, but the same kind of setup can be done undefined risk. I have one in SpaceX where I sold a 125 strike short put and I bought a 300 strike call a year and a half away from now. So just creating a really asymmetric upside. If this thing does what people think it's going to do, I want to capture all that upside profit potential on the long call, especially because we talked about how the short put is synergized with the SPX market or S&P market, where on the way down, you get more premium, more implied volatility, contraction potential. Same thing with SpaceX. If SpaceX rips up 50 points, 60 points in a week, you're going to get an IV expansion. You're going to get call skew infused into there. So I want to own that call, but I don't want to pay for it just yet. I want to finance it with a short put.
Love it. Absolutely. Absolutely love it. All right, let's get them a few takeaways. Let's get them on to the next piece. So positive theta and time decay are what we bank on over time as option sellers, but there are other factors to our profitability that we can position ourselves to take advantage of in our portfolios, just as we do with the volatility contraction and the positive drift in the short put strategy, which again, it could be a standalone short put, or it could actually come in a number of different varieties as we talked about.
Beautiful.
Love it.